Just Chapter 3, directed by Rennie Harlan and starring Madeleine Pesch as the returning survivor Maya wraps up this rebooted trilogy with what the marketing bills as the series' most brutal chapter yet, and on that front, it delivers the violence here and escalates to levels that make the previous two films look restrained, with more graphic kills, higher body counts, and a relentless push towards a final showdown with the masked killers. Unfortunately, brutality alone doesn't make for an effective horror movie, and this entry stumbles hard where its predecessors and at least partially succeeded. The original The Strangers movie thrived on slow building dread and suffocating tension from the unknown, and even Chapter 1 and 2 managed moments of genuine unease throughout, and also atmospheric stalking and psychological pressure. Chapter 3, however, arguably abandons that in favor of a more action and gore orientated movie. The results, a film that feels oddly flat and lacking in suspense. The scares come loud and fast, but without any mounting anticipation. That that made the earlier entries chilling. They land more like jump scare filler than true terror. Compounding the issue is the overcrowded cast. The story introduces several new characters, May's sister, also brother-in-law, and others who are meant to raise the stakes and expand the nightmare. Instead, they feel like disposable additions thrown in to pad the runtime and body count. I'll also say the arcs are underdeveloped, their presence overwhelming rather than meaningful, and most end up wasted in a script that doesn't give them time to breathe or matter. It turns what could have been a focused cat and mouse game into a chaotic mess where no one behind the core survivor feels essential. The only real redeeming quality about this movie is, I would say, the cinematography is great. The movie is filmed really well, as were the two previous movies. Um, and also, Harlan and his team capture some striking visual moody shadows, effective use of isolated locations, and crisp atmospheric framing that occasionally recalls the eerie aesthetic of the original movies. The film looks polished and professional in a way the storytelling never quite matches. In the end, I would say The Strangers Chapter 3 is the most disappointing out of the series, and it's a bad way to close the trilogy that promised so much but delivered diminishing returns. It's the most brutal of the three, yes, but that brutality comes at the expense of tension, um, character development, and depth for the movie. And if you're a contemp- if you're a completist for the series and you want to watch this because you watched all the other movies, I would say go ahead and see it, but otherwise it's just a forgettable slog that makes you appreciate the original even more. I'll give this movie a 1.5 rating out of 5. As I said previously, and if you look back at my um, top 10 movies of last year, I really liked Chapter 2, and it was one of my favorite movies of 2025. It's just that this Chapter 3 is just so badly done. It's just it's just really bad. In other notes, this movie was scheduled to be screened here in Australia at the cinemas, but was pulled out at the last minute. I'm guessing because of the bad reviews and the box office failure of this film. So I still would have went and